you ever compared your life to that of a dashboard? Right? Lights come on, check engine light. One, then another. You know, your car needs tires or the house needs siding. The bank account needs a little padding. The water heater starts making funny noises. The dog needs the vet. The kids need the dentist. Or a dress for prom, if you're living in my shoes. But before long, you're driving through your life, and you realize you're looking at a dashboard full of blinking lights. Well, folks, we're here to find the answer. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, pull up a chair, pour something honest. Welcome back to Ivory's After Dark, where the lights are low, the notes are real, and the truth is living somewhere between the keys. I am your host, Jack Rivers, and depending on email, Facebook Messenger, or whatever, the rumor mill has it for me this week. I'm either a philosopher, a piano player, a contractor, a marriage counselor, a guy who should have bought a van by now. I have been looking. But tonight we're going to talk about dashboards. Success, failure. Not so much the dashboard lights in our car, though. Okay? The ones in our lives, right? I went van shopping last week. Spent a couple of days going here or there and everywhere, just looking at used vans. I saw 3 or 4 of them. One was junk. The other one had enough miles to qualify for Social Security. One reminded me that it looked okay, but the check engine light and the thing was doing had a funny smell. And now, I know what some of you are thinking. Like, Jack, this is Ivory's After Dark, not Carfax After Midnight. So just stay with me, because somewhere between rusty brake lines and questionable transmissions, I kind of stumbled into a realization. The van wasn't the problem. Though I was frustrated and disappointed, that wasn't the problem either. The problem was that I was tired of carrying unfinished business, and I had not put my finger on it. Bothered me all the way home. Couldn't put my finger on it. Then I realized what it was. I had to start compartmentalizing again. So we tell ourselves all the time, if I could just get this one thing handled, everything else would be fine. In my case, the vehicle. It might be a promotion. It might be the house. It might be the relationship, the next gig, the next paycheck, the next thing. Then we get it, and then another light comes on. The notification, whether it's on our phone, our dashboard, or right here. Life is funny that way. It's less like climbing a mountain and more like playing whack-a-mole at the county fair. You knock one thing down, something else pops up. You knock something down, 3 more pop up. And you're just sitting there trying to do your best. When I was about 22, I had wanted the finished picture. I was standing in my house looking at house plans. My dad came in for a cup of coffee, and he said, "Son, if you listen to me, you do it in phases." And at the time, I was 22. I was thinking, the old man's trying to slow me down. But turns out he was freeing me, because while everybody else was financing tomorrow, he taught me how to build today. One phase, one project, one board, one step. Funny thing is, that's exactly how I've built everything worthwhile in my life. Whether it's a house, whether it's the music, whether it's a marriage, a career, none of it happened all at once. Let me say that again. None of it happened all at once. This month, June, a few pivotal things, Father's Day. I'm turning 50 this month. That's right. I know I don't look it, but I feel 70. Now, before anybody starts shopping for canes and orthopedic shoes, I feel pretty good. But 50 has a way of making a man ask different questions. At 20, you're trying to prove something. At 30, you're trying to build something. At 40, you're trying to carry everything while walking a tightrope and finding balance. But then when you hit 50, you start asking, what do I actually want? And after a lot of thinking, I think I have my answer. Just for me. I don't want more. I want less. I want less debt, less stress, less noise, and definitely less unfinished business. I know it's been a week, but I had to marinate some of these thoughts for at least a week. I did a show, one of the shows I did last week, I did Vienna. I didn't write that song, Billy Joel did. But there's a line of truth running through that song that hits different when you've lived a little while. That song basically says to slow down, that you're not late, that the world isn't handing out trophies for arriving exhausted. Although it should. Because I might get one. But that's funny because I've spent all day and all week worrying about what wasn't finished. Then I sat down, literally just before I did this, and played a song that reminded me that life isn't a race. God has a sense of humor sometimes, and if you ever want to hear him laugh, announce your plans. I was over in Milan last weekend, and there was a couple from Sarasota, or they go to Sarasota. They were sitting in the audience. Great people, leaning into every song, paying attention, just enjoying the evening, clapping, dancing, requesting songs. It was a great time. And at one point, they asked me, like, what's everybody else's problem? And of course, I laughed because, that's Michigan. Now, before Michigan throws me out, I was joking. It was a way of saying, welcome to Michigan, because they were talking about Sarasota, but I think they are from Michigan. But I was joking, mostly. But what struck me was this. The people who connected that night, really connected, not everybody, not the whole room, just a handful. And that's enough. A room does not have to belong to everyone. And you'll see, if you're a musician, you can attest to this, is a lot of times you walk into a room and it's already divided. But sometimes it only needs to belong to the people who are listening. So then something happened that I've been paying a little attention to lately, probably over the last 6 months, is I've been, lacing a couple of originals in my sets, and one's fixing to get released here soon. But Bourbon Blurred and This Prison will be released soon. But more and more people keep coming up afterwards and asking about the original, not because they're being polite, but because and not even because they're I don't know, maybe they are, maybe they're not. Maybe it has something to do with supporting local music. But I think it was because the songs meant something to them. And that matters to me, because I have spent years comparing my songs to songs written by people that I admire. Not because I wanted to be them, but because I wanted my songs to stand on their own. You can go into the studio and they can make, they can really add to it, but if you stripped it down to the bare bones, that night kind of reminded me that maybe they do. Not because they're famous, but because they're honest. So, the older I get, the less interested I am in owning the world. Honestly, I'd settle for owning my time, my peace, my attention, my mornings, my evenings, a finished house, a reliable vehicle, a family around the table, and maybe a song that sticks to somebody's ribs. That's enough. So maybe success isn't getting more. Maybe success is just finally needing less. The greatest luxury in life isn't money. It's waking up and realizing there aren't 100 unfinished things screaming your name. A quiet dashboard. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I'm after. Not because I'm done building, but because I finally like to hear the music again. I am Jack Rivers, and this has been Ivory's After Dark. I'll see you next time. Same room, same piano, different conversation.